Dear delegates, may I kindly request you to please take your seats and so that we can bring the House to order. Thank you. Well, this is the official opening ceremony of ATCM 46 in Kochi, and I warmly welcome on the stage today 3 special dignitaries who have traveled to be part of our meeting today. And I would like to begin by introducing the Minister of the Union Government, the Minister for Earth Sciences, Mr. Kiran Rijiju. Mr. Rijiju is a Cabinet Minister for Earth Sciences and Food Processing Industries in the Government of India. He has earlier served as the Minister of State for Home Affairs from 2014 to 2019, the Minister of State for Minority Affairs from 2019 to 2021, the Minister of State with independent charge for Sports and Youth Affairs from 2019 to 2021, and the Union Law Minister from 2021 to 2023. Mr. Rijiju was born on 19th November 1971 at Naku near Nafra in the West Kamen district of Arunachal Pradesh in India. Mr. Rijiju did his graduation from the Hansraj College, University of Delhi, and in 1998, he earned his graduate degree in law from the Campus Law Center in the University of Delhi. He is renowned to be a good athlete during his college days, and as of February 2023, has been actively playing both football and badminton. So with these words, may I kindly request you, Minister, to address us.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Namaskar and a warm welcome to Kochi in India for the 46th Antarctic Treaty Consultative Meeting. It is an honor and a privilege for India to host distinguished delegates from around the world in our beautiful country. As we gather to discuss the future of the pristine continent on Earth, we are inspired by the ancient wisdom encapsulated in the Sanskrit phrase Vasudev Kutumbakam, which means one earth, one family, one future. This philosophy resonates deeply with the principles that unite us under the Antarctic Treaty System, promoting peace, scientific cooperation, and the preservation of Antarctica for all mankind. It is indeed a great opportunity for India to host the ATCM for the second time, the first being held in 2007 when the 30th ATCM was held in New Delhi. We are proud to contribute to the ongoing dialogue and collaboration that is essential for the stewardship of this unique continent. Antarctica, with its vast, pristine wilderness, a huge refrigerator of ice, serves as a critical climate modulator and a sentinel of climate change. It holds invaluable clues to our planet's past and future climate, making our collaborative efforts in its preservation all the more critical. This icy expanse is not just a frozen desert, it is a dynamic, living laboratory that demands our highest commitment to protection and study. India's connection with Antarctica began in 1956 when we introduced an item at the 11th UN General Assembly advocating for the peaceful utilization of Antarctica. Our active Antarctic journey, however, truly commenced with our first expedition in 1981. Since then, our programs have been a testament to our dedication and peaceful purposes and scientific exploration. The Maitri Station, established in 1989, has been our primary workhorse, facilitating numerous scientific endeavors and expeditions, and standing as a beacon of our enduring commitment to Antarctic research. In 2012, we further expanded our research capabilities with the establishment of the Bharati Station. We are committed to understand India's connect with Antarctica and would advocate for responsible and regulated tourism. As we look to the future, we are excited to announce India's plan to build a new research station, Maitri 2. This enhancement will strengthen our capabilities to conduct vital research, particularly in connection with the instability of East Antarctic ice sheet. Our goal is to contribute more substantially to global scientific knowledge and to international effort of understanding and mitigating climate change. We firmly believe that Antarctica is a continent for all mankind and shared heritage whose protection rests in our collective hands. This belief is enshrined in our actions and policies as we work together with other nations to ensure that Antarctica remains a natural reserve devoted to peace and science. Antarctica holds immense importance for the world due to its unique and fragile ecosystem, scientific significance, and role in global climate regulation. Antarctica plays a critical role in regulating global sea levels and ocean currents, influencing weather patterns and marine life worldwide. Its preservation is essential for maintaining ecological balance and safeguarding biodiversity. The Antarctic Treaty highlights the international commitment to preserving Antarctica's environmental, scientific, and cultural values. Protecting Antarctica is not only a matter of environmental conservation, but also a shared responsibility for the well-being of present and future generations. By recognizing Antarctica's importance and actively participating in its conservation efforts, we can ensure that this pristine continent remains a symbol of international cooperation and environmental stewardship for years to come. As we embark on this consultative meeting, let us reaffirm our commitment to these principles. Let us strive together to safeguard Antarctica for future generations, fostering a spirit of collaboration and mutual respect. The decisions we make here and the discussions we engage in will echo through time, shaping the destiny of this pristine land. In closing, I wish all delegates fruitful deliberations and a successful meeting. Let us continue to work together as one global family for the betterment of our planet and the preservation of Antarctica. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Minister Ji, and for your comments and for the inaugural address that you have given to this meeting. We're very grateful for your time and for your thoughts on the importance of maintaining the principles and the objectives of the Antarctic Treaty, as well as preserving the principles of peace and science in the Antarctic continent. Thank you very much indeed for your time. I would now like to request Ambassador Pawan Kapoor, Secretary West from the Ministry of External Affairs, to give a talk on the Antarctic and its governance. Ambassador Kapoor, in a diplomatic career spanning over 3 decades, has worked in different capacities in Indian missions abroad, as well as at headquarters in New Delhi. Having joined the Indian Foreign Service in 1990, he started his diplomatic life in Moscow and was most recently India's ambassador to the Russian Federation. Prior to this, Ambassador Kapoor has been India's ambassador to the United Arab Emirates, to Israel, and High Commissioner of India to Mozambique and the Kingdom of Swaziland. He has served in Indian missions in Geneva, London, Kiev, as well as in the Prime Minister's office, and has also been an international civil servant with the Commonwealth Secretariat in London. Ambassador Kapoor has earned his master's degree in international political economy from the London School of Economics. May I now call upon Ambassador Kapoor for his talk. Oh.
Thank you very much. Honorable Minister of Earth Sciences of India, Shri Kiran Rijiju, Excellencies, esteemed delegates, it's a great pleasure to be here today at this opening ceremony, opening plenary of the 46th ATCM. It is indeed a matter of pride for India to host the ATCM and the CEP meeting for a second time after last hosting these, the 30th ATCM and the 10th CEP in 2007. I would like to welcome all participating country delegations to India and to Kochi. Antarctica is key to our understanding of Earth's climate and ocean systems. As the world's natural laboratory that witnessed millions of years of change in global climatic conditions, continental drift, and so on, it has proved to be a reliable tracker of global climate change. It provides us a tremendous opportunity to advance scientific research for the benefit of all mankind. Today, the threat of climate change and global warming on the polar ecosystems is of immediate concern to all of us. Rapid melting of the polar ice and a rise in sea level threatens the very existence of low-lying small islands. There is an urgent need to find solutions to care for the continent and its fragile ecosystem, while continuously tapping into the new opportunities that open up for us. While doing so, we also need to ensure that we consistently uphold the foundational principles of the Antarctic Treaty. As mentioned in the preamble of the Antarctic Treaty, and I quote, "It is in the interest of all mankind that Antarctica shall continue forever to be used exclusively for peaceful purposes and shall not become the scene or object of international discord," unquote. India has always taken a keen interest in the Antarctic region. We have always considered Antarctica to be a continent of peace and science. India's vision for Antarctica is to use its resources for peaceful purposes and to conduct scientific research for the benefit of all of humanity. As you heard from the Honorable Minister, our first expedition to Antarctica was launched from the shores of Goa in 1981. So far, we have successfully conducted 42 annual scientific expeditions to Antarctica, and our 43rd expedition is presently ongoing. While over the years, these scientific expeditions have seen increasing participation from institutes and universities from all over India, we have also facilitated international participation in them. In the current expedition, for example, there are participants from Bangladesh and Mauritius also. Today, India has 2 operational research stations in the Antarctic, Maitri and Bharati, while the Himadri station in Svalbard in Norway in the Arctic, with that, India is among the few nations that have multiple research stations within the polar regions. India has gained rich polar experience thanks to our continuous scientific engagements in Antarctica. The Indian Antarctic Science Program is rich and diverse. A wide gamut of research fields have been attempted and executed successfully over the years, and the same have been contributing to the world of science in a significant manner. It consists of studies in the areas such as atmospheric sciences, biological sciences, earth sciences and glaciology, human physiology and medicine. In the area of scientific investigations in Antarctica, India stands ready for further collaboration and cooperation. Over time, we realized that the continuing and growing presence of Indian scientists in the research stations of Antarctica, with our concurrent commitment to protection of the fragile Antarctic ecosystem, warranted domestic legislation. Accordingly, in 2022, we passed the Indian Antarctic Act to provide a harmonious policy and regulatory framework for India's Antarctic activities. This was in accordance with India's accession to the Antarctic Treaty, the Madrid Protocol, and the CCMALR, or the Convention on Conservation of Antarctic Marine Living Resources. The Indian Antarctic Act seeks to provide a stable, transparent, and accountable process for our Antarctic research and expeditions, to ensure the protection and preservation of the Antarctic environment, as well as to ensure compliance by Indian citizens engaged in the Antarctic programs and activities with relevant rules and internationally agreed standards. The Indian Antarctic Act also regulates India's interest and proactive involvement in the management of growing Antarctic tourism and sustainable development of fisheries resources in Antarctic waters. It aligns well with our openness to collaboration in polar governance and cooperation in the scientific and logistic fields. Excellencies, distinguished delegates, new technologies are opening up new possibilities in the Antarctic, and so are the international community's ambitions and expectations. To access the continent and derive benefits for all of humanity, while also preserving it for future generations, it is important to tread cautiously in a controlled and regulated manner. In this regard, it is encouraging that this year, under India's chairship of the ATCM, there is a new working group dedicated to development of a tourism framework. Development of such a framework is an imperative for ensuring that the opening of the region does not endanger its pristine environment and related fragile ecosystems. It also holds great promise for unlocking the economic potential of the region. We are keen to work with all delegations for a good outcome from this working group also. Let me conclude by wishing all delegates very fruitful discussions over the coming days, and I wish you all also a very pleasant stay in Kochi. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Kapoor, for your comments and your words about the governance aspects of the Antarctic Treaty and the importance of the third working group that is going to be established by this meeting, and for the account you have given of India's Antarctic program. Thank you so much. I would now like to request and invite Mr. Sailesh Nayak, who is the Director of the National Institute of Advanced Studies located in the city of Bengaluru, to speak on the Antarctic and climate change. Dr. Sailesh Nayak is Director of the Institute of Advanced Studies, as well as Chancellor of the Terry School of Advanced Studies in New Delhi, and the Editor-in-Chief of the Journal of the Indian Society of Remote Sensing in Dehradun. He obtained his PhD degree in geology from the MS University in Baroda in 1980. He was Secretary of the Ministry of Earth Sciences for 8 years, from 2007 to 2015, and provided leadership for programs relating to Earth system sciences. His current research interests include building strategies for the blue economy, sustainable development, and promoting research in the Indian Ocean and the polar regions. Dr. Nayak, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Honorable Minister of Earth Sciences, Sri Kiran Rijiju ji, Mr. Chairman, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen. As you know that the Antarctica is a unique territory of planet Earth that has no sovereign control and yet free from international discord. The Antarctic Treaty System ensures that the Antarctica remain as a natural reserve devoted to peace and science. During last 2 decades, our knowledge about polar regions have advanced manifold, especially their role in modulating global weather and climate. They play a very important role in influencing Earth system processes by altering planetary energy budget, moderating temperature gradient between the equator and the poles, and regulating variability in atmospheric circulation. There are 3 major issues which needs to be addressed with respect to the climate change and Antarctica. Many research studies have shown that the rate of polar ice sheet melting has accelerated during last 3 decades and raised the level or sea level by about 8 millimeters. The atmospheric rivers in the southern hemisphere are shifting towards Antarctica due to ozone depletion, greenhouse gas emissions, and increase in sea surface temperature. Overall, 60% of ice calving events in the Antarctic Peninsula during last 20 years were triggered by the atmospheric rivers. The biggest uncertainty of societal and policy relevance facing the climate science today is the future contribution of Antarctic ice sheet to global sea level rise. A key issue is that what is the threshold for Antarctic ice shelf stability and global warming? The Paris Agreement for stabilizing temperature up to 1.5 to 2 degrees is one such threshold and expected to raise the sea level by half a meter if the temperature rises about 2 degrees centigrade. The melting of Antarctic ice sheet and resultant flooding into the tropical and mid-latitude coast and islands will affect coastal communities and ecosystems. The second issue is how the regional warming, ocean acidification, and the changes in sea ice distribution can affect species, ecosystem, and resources. The Antarctic krill habitat is likely to be reduced up to 20% and reduce the availability of food for many species of whales, seals, penguins, and fish. In one such study, it was observed that the penguin species, the Gen 2, numbers are increasing, but the population of other 2 penguin species, Adeline and Chinstrap, are dwindling due to warming. The increased human activity is likely to introduce non-indigenous species which may become invasive due to climate change. Studies related to the impact of climate-induced changes on marine biodiversity and functioning of ecosystem to be encouraged. The permanent ice-free area is less than 1% of the total area of the Antarctica. Antarctica has over 40,000 visitors a year, and many more research facilities are being built on the tiny ice-free area, at times without necessary clearances. The increasing human activities, along with the impacts of climate change, necessitates a strategy to identify and protect ecological sensitive areas and the compliance of environmental law. The understanding about the collective impact of the environmental change drivers, that is changing climate, sea ice, winds and currents, ocean acidification, resource exploration, the threat of biological invasions on many key ecological processes is limited. It is necessary to identify diversity of life in 3 major realms: the sea ice, water column, and seabed. The magnitude of predicted environmental change and its effects on marine life require long-term monitoring, hence baseline data is critical. The third issue is the resource demands, which is likely to increase during next 50 years as the climate continues to change and the technology advances. Though the Protocol on Environmental Protection to the Antarctic Treaty prohibits any activity related to mineral resources other than scientific research, nations outside the treaty are not bound by its provisions. Technologies for oil, gas, and mineral exploration in remote regions have been developed or advancing rapidly. Bioprospecting could also present a future challenge. Tourism is another activity which is increasing trend. That increase is due to the diversification of tourist activities, including high-risk adventure tourism. The issues related to regulatory measures, liability in case of accidents, search and rescue are yet to be properly addressed. The scientific community should address these challenges by investigating their nature and making outcome more rapidly and accessible to the policy environment. The improved ways to use scientific information and increase the speed of decision-making is critical. The challenges are global, but the impact would be realized on the Arctic. The greater engagement with the international organizations such as UNFCCC, IPCC, WMO, Cordex, WCRP, YOPP, WMO Force, and many others should continue and which will contribute towards the future Earth. Helsinki Declaration on the Climate Change in Antarctica committed substantially increasing our efforts to communicate the global implications of climate change in Antarctica within our own countries and international fora, which should continue. A pressing requirement is to make accurate forecast of climate change. This required a comprehensive observation and analysis of roles of polar atmosphere, ocean, and cryosphere, both present and past. Predictive modeling at various spatial and temporal scale has to be improved. In the end, the challenges of 21st century includes the historical sovereignty claims, rising national interests, and require robust international governance system. At the same time, there are need for strengthening the multiple disciplinary international collaboration to pull together human and financial resources and logistics. Satellite data are critical for measuring environmental and ecosystem changes. Interaction with the space agencies is vital to ensure long-term, continuous, and timely satellite data requirement for monitoring land, ocean, ice, and atmosphere parameters and ecosystems. Advancing marine ecosystem protection is a major governance challenge, and capability of current conservation governance arrangement are to be enhanced. Implementation of IMS Polar Code is to be considered. There are issues related to biological prospecting, especially related to intellectual property rights, territorial jurisdiction, need to be addressed with the National Biodiversity Strategy. And the last, the impacts of climate change will affect the communities throughout the world. Hence, the aspirations of the people and their consciousness about Antarctica and climate change should be considered in the governance of Antarctica. In the end, I wish very fruitful and productive discussion during this meeting. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Sailesh Nayak, for your thoughts on the Antarctic and climate change. It is an existential threat, and your reference to global sea level rise and the impact of climate change on communities, as well as the need for international collaboration, are extremely relevant for our discussions. Thank you very much. Dear delegates, on this note, may I once again take this opportunity to convey our gratitude to the Honorable Minister of the Union Government, Shri Kiran Rijiju, for taking time out from his exceptionally busy schedule and traveling all the way from New Delhi to Kochi to address us and for his words of inspiration and encouragement for our meeting. Thank you so much, sir, for taking time out. I also want to thank Ambassador Pawan Kapoor and Dr. Sailesh Nayak. Before we conclude the opening session, may I request the Deputy Secretary to make a few administrative announcements.
Thank you, Chair. So we will now break for the tea, and the tea is up to 11 a.m. and we will request all the delegates to reassemble here at 11 a.m. We have also planned a brief interaction of the media with the Honorable Minister and other dignitaries, which will be held in Nautica Hall, which is just behind this hall. So I will request all the media people, if they want interaction with the minister and other dignitaries, to proceed to that, and the other delegates may proceed to enjoy the coffee and tea break outside the hall. And we will meet at 11 a.m. again. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Thank you.